Well, I had a diagnosis about 5 years ago. They said that I was on the spectrum and that it would make sense to say that I had Asperger's syndrome because I didn't seem to score that high on the ADOS test. And so for the last few years, I've been telling people that I've got Asperger's syndrome. And for me, that diagnosis fit because I didn't think I had a learning disability or general learning disabilities, and I didn't have a delay in speech, and I'm incredibly verbal. So I thought that that sort of fitted for me. And when I see how some people with classic autism are, it didn't feel that my experience was similar to that, because I feel like I'm sort of in between people who have classic autism and in between people who are neurotypical. So that kind of not really fitting in both places kind of happened, because I think when people think of autism, they automatically think of people who've got classic autism, and they think about people who might be savants or are non-verbal and that kind of thing. And when I told people that I had Asperger's syndrome, they were like, really? You know, you don't seem like you have it. And that was quite frustrating. But having a diagnosis was good because I was able to explain to people why I behave the way I do, why I speak the way I do, and it explained some of my difficulties from when I was younger. When I found out that the diagnosis I've got wasn't an official one, I was frustrated because I think that having an official diagnosis, it actually validates your experiences. And whereas I spent most of my life thinking I'm strange, I'm weird, I'm different, having a diagnosis for me meant that there was somewhere that I kind of fitted in and that it explained things, and that a lot of things like being bullied at school or being different or talking too fast or making mistakes or not understanding jokes, that all of those things weren't my fault. And so I found having a diagnosis was really helpful. Having a diagnosis meant that I was protected by the Equality Act, and that any employer would be able to make reasonable adjustments and treat me in a certain way, and that I could explain why sometimes I struggle with behaviour or thoughts or fitting in. And now that I haven't got an official diagnosis, it kind of makes me feel a bit vulnerable, because I know, and people on the autism team who work with me, and because of the ADOS tests that I've done officially, I know that I'm on the spectrum. But I feel like if I haven't got an official diagnosis, that it means it's not really real and I can't really fit in that category anymore.
When I got diagnosed about a year ago, it was kind of, there was a lot, you know, it was like the penny drop kind of moment. I thought, oh yeah, kind of, you know, I've always kind of, I always thought there was, you know, something a little bit, you know, kind of a little bit wrong. And then I thought, oh right, okay, yeah. So it kind of, it was good. It was a positive thing that I found that out about myself. Yeah.
My diagnosis to me has it's clarified a lot of the issues that I've had growing up. I was sort of diagnosed late in life. I'm 38 and I had my diagnosis 2 days before my birthday this year. I've had quite a bit of difficulty with it, I think because with it being a neurological condition, it's not something I can change. I think I'm sort of beginning to change my mindset now, and I am beginning to see a bit more of the positives. I had sort of felt quite like an outsider, very awkward, but now I've got an explanation for that. And now I can kind of now work towards making my experience a better one. I mean, having come into contact with other people at various groups, and I've also been to this kind of conference or a weekender, it's kind of given me a bit more hope, because you sort of see how people who have known for a few years and some other people who had their diagnosis at a later point and how they've handled it.
Understanding autism has improved my life no end. Many people aren't aware that I've been in and out of mental health for the last 50 years for a variety of unexplained diagnoses loosely based upon depression. Eventually somebody guessed that it might be worth testing me for autism, and that diagnosis literally opened a complete door on a whole new life. The information I've discovered about autism over the last 4 years, and it is only the last 4 years I've been aware of the diagnosis, have helped explain a lot of what goes on in my life, and also a lot of the things that have gone on or even gone wrong in the history of my life, because I'm now realising that some of the stuff I could not have done any differently. Some of the stuff I struggled to do because of explainable reasons, and other stuff caused me problems because of the excess internal emotion that comes with the autism. So being able to put this into perspective against established understandings, especially from those achieved from other autistic people, comparing notes with peers if you like, has made me be a lot easier on myself. I now know how to be much, much kinder to myself in the way I deal with how I've dealt with a given situation. And it's also enabled me to plan so that life isn't quite so hard. Something like this interview, which is fairly stressful, I plan to have time off so that I can recuperate afterwards. If I was to do this several days on the trot, I would not make the weekend.